शुक्लां वरदरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुर्गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुस्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Namaste. Today, on the eve of Naraka Chaturdasi and Deepavali, today I'm with other three Sanatanis stated in Australia, and we are going to discuss about the origin and significance and the impact on knowing origin and significance of our festivals, and particularly on this occasion, we'll be discussing about the origin and significance of Naraka Chaturdasi and Deepavali. So we have Shri Radhakrishna Dokka ji and Mitra Desai ji and Aksharam Umamahesh ji from Australia. And I request Shri Radhakrishna ji to kindly moderate this discussion and see to it that we discuss at the topic in a focused manner. I request Shri Radhakrishna ji to kindly give a small introduction of himself and then take over the discussion.
Thank you, Srinivas J. This is a great occasion for us to be sitting here together and trying to explore the roots of our Sanatana Dharma. A little bit about myself, Radhakrishna Dokka. The village where I was born is in Rajamahendravaram, or Rajamandri as it is known, in the east coast of Andhra Pradesh. I have been living in Australia since the last 26 years with my family. I have 3 children. And as a growing up Sanatana Dharmi, or practicing Sanatani, one of the challenges we all face as parents is how best do we raise our children, and how do we pass on the correct knowledge of Sanatana Dharma to the next generation as torchbearers, perhaps. And that's how I think we are all in a common boat. We have Mitra Ji, Umamaheshwar Ji, in a common boat as parents of Sanatana Dharmis in a different land other than Bharat. So on that basis, this is a great occasion for us to come together and know a little bit from different perspectives. And it's my pleasure to introduce Srinivas Ji. Srinivas Ji's full name, Jammalamadaka Srinivas, and he hails from Andhra Pradesh. He has studied Nyaya and Tarka Shastra under Sri Ambadipudi Radheshyama Shastri Garu. And he has also studied Advaita Vedanta under Sri Manidavid Shastrigal. He has studied Vyakarana till Siddhanta Kaumudi under Sri Ganti Dattatreya Murthy Ji. He has completed the very well-known Tenali exams, which are known to be very, very difficult to get through in Tarka Shastra. And he is about to appear for his exams in Tenali area in Advaita Vedanta. And he has quite a few awards conferred on him. He is one of the awards is Tarkaratnam and Vidwan Mani by Sri Kanchi Shankaracharya Garu, Shastra Kalanidhi by the Madhya Pradesh State Governor. He has 2 PGs, one in Sanskritam and the other one is Nyaya Shastra. He has completed MPhil and is pursuing PhD in Nyaya Shastra. Currently, he is working as the assistant professor in the Department of Bharatiya Darshan in the Kavikulaguru Kalidas Sanskrit University in Ramtek near Nagpur in Maharashtra. This, in my view, is a very shortened version of introduction of Srinivas Garu. Srinivas Ji, I welcome you on behalf of my friends here in Australia for having taken the time to come and share with us this great knowledge and enlighten us and the viewers alike a bit on the topic of what exactly is Naraka Chaturdasi and Deepavali and how is it celebrated, what are the myths and legends around it, and all that sort of things.
It's a pleasure meeting you all. Yeah.
Next we have with us a young mother from Maharashtra who is in Australia. Mitra Desai, she has been a good friend of mine for quite a few years now. She has recently authored a book called Shitala. And the very revealing factor about that book is that while we know all about vaccination, which has come to the forefront again because of the COVID pandemic, many people actually do not know what is the vaccination method and where is originated from. And probably many people don't know that it is originated in Sanatana land, which is Bharata Bhumi. And this book brings out that very fact in a nice, beautiful story format. So we have author Mitraji here. She did her early schooling in Satara, Kolhapur, and the interior design and law. And after completing her education, she followed the trends of time and pursued her higher education in the land where everybody wants to go, America. And there she completed a master's in criminal justice. After that, after a brief period back in Bharat, she accompanied her husband as the dutiful wife to the land down under, Australia. And she worked in this field for more than a decade now. As they say, you can take the girl out of Bharat, or for example, or the man out of Bharat, but you cannot take Bharat out of the Bharatiya or the Sanatana Bharatiya that has come out of Bharat. I think it makes a firmer hold in the heart of a Sanatani when one travels out of Bharat, and the love grows even more. So, and to let's say a little bit about Mitraji, she has enjoyed reading a lot, and she has a teenage son, Sharg, his name is, and her presence today is from that perspective. What are the challenges that young mothers in a land outside Bharat face with regards to passing on this beautiful knowledge that we have of Sanatana Dharma, and how do we carry on that tradition?
So I'm going to pester all of you with a lot of questions, huh?
That's the thing. Welcome. And she's also a blogger. She also has her own YouTube channel, which is called Tejomaya Bharat, and we will post those in the links later on in the Zoom thing. And that's a little bit about Mitraji. I have actually cut short a lot of other introductory fascinating features about Mitraji. Considering time, I'm moving on to our next illustrious friend and guest here, Sri Umamaheshwar Garu. Welcome, Umamaheshwar Ji, on this talk show. Umamaheshwar Ji, his last name actually is Senagavarapu, but he has adopted the name Aksharam. And the beautiful fact is that once you have Aksharam Umamaheshwar, it becomes A-U and Ma, Om. So it shows his passion into the field of Aksharam, the root of everything that is communicated. By profession, he is a cloud computing engineer. He is also hails from Andhra Pradesh. He is a multilinguist. He's a faceted personality. He's a speaker, author, Indologist, researcher, Akshara trainer. He also has a passion in acting, and he's a folk percussionist. Lots of facets and personalities, facets to Umamaheshwarji. And he has traveled and lived in various parts of the world, like in the Europe, in the Americas, in South Asia, and currently he is with us in Australia, in Melbourne. And again, after touring the world over, what has struck him is that the greatness of Bharatiya linguists and the contribution to linguistic diversity is his passion. This is where he spends most of his time in bringing forth knowledge back to us. He has authored quite a few books, and some of his books, his first book was Akshara Vinyasa, The Rising, and it is referred to or acclaimed as a complete reference to Indian phonetics and Akshara. He has also authored other books in Telugu called Akshara Vijnanam, Aksharodhyamam, Nandikesha Kasika, and so on. And he is also has the bit of leadership trait in him. Even at the age of 19, he motivated and led a group of youth and residents in his native place back in Bharat and renovated a 500-year-old historical monument, which is a feather in his activity cap, as an activist. And he also has knowledge in various areas of Indian sciences, shastras like Shilpagama Shastra, Jyotisha, Kalpashastra, Tantra, Ayurveda, Ayurvedic herbs, some areas of Veda, Vedanga, and Upaveda as well, about which I really don't have any knowledge whatsoever, except the titles of all these beautiful subjects. And then he has also executed some proof of concepts like Swadhyaya Pravachana Network, Matruka Movement, Greater India Research Academy, and he also has his own YouTube channel, which I think is called The Human Mind Untapped, if I'm not wrong. Yes, yeah. So we have these illustrious personalities. I will quickly start our conversation, and let us go on to our first question, which is...
And Radhakrishna Ji, about you, could you please introduce a few words? So
I did, in fact, just a little bit. One of the main things that I engage myself with my time is being a Swayam Sevak with the Sangh here in Australia since the last 12 years. And I take that as my platform, an opportunity to learn myself first about Bharatiya Sanatana Dharma, and take the opportunity to provide a platform and spread it to the next generation. That's a little bit, and my passions are music, a little bit of language, I would say. So coming back to our topic today, I would first like to ask Srinivas Ji, why you chose this topic today. What is happening around the world? What is it that you have seen, whether it is in Bharat or around the world, whether it is in media or social media or talking to friends or anything? Something must have triggered this to have this talk like this. So I would really like to know why you chose this topic today.
Yeah, so what's happening from my childhood that I've been seeing is that whenever some Sanatana festival or some Sanatana occasion where celebration happens, some or the other kind of campaigning, a negative kind of a campaigning comes in around, and they try to paint this in a very different kind of a picture. If we take Jallikattu for the sake, at this time of Makar Sankranti, down south we have a great we have a sport called Jallikattu, where tapping these bulls and etc. would be there. You take any festival, whether it is Holi, they talk about colors, polluting water, or something, it harms what you call the animals and etc. There comes in PETA saying that celebrate Holi without colors. So Holi itself is it has a very strong relation with colors. And while coming to Deepavali, especially Deepavali is such a festival. If we try to make a garland out of all the festivals in Sanatana, what you call dharma, Deepavali comes in the middle of these with a great kind of an ornament kind of a thing. It is celebrated across not only I say India, but across globe by all the Sanatanis in a very bigger manner compared to other festivals. Some festivals are very much celebrated in some parts of India and some are not. So like Kojagari Purnima, if you say it is famous in the northern part of India, in Maharashtra and etc. But we in South don't know what is Kojagari Purnima normally. So in this way, there are some festivals which are very much famous in particular parts of India, and people who stay in other countries belonging to these parts of India, they celebrate them. But coming to Deepavali and Naraka Chaturdasi is that all over India, everyone is aware of this festival and everyone celebrates it in a very grand manner. So recently, this happened. The campaign from Fab India stating Deepavali. They tried to replace Deepavali from with the word Jasn-e-Riwaz. So they are kind of trying it to give it a Mughal kind of a thing, and with stating it to be Urdu. So somewhere they're trying to state it in such a way that it is something Indian, but not something Sanatana Dharmi. So something related to Sanatana Dharma. So this is a very calculative steps that they are taking towards, where at the end they are trying to disassociate our festivals with our Dharma. So this is what happens. And calling Priyanka Chopra on 2018, there was a Cipla ad. Literally, Priyanka Chopra played this role of an asthmatic patient, which she is or not, we never know. But she, in that ad, is an asthmatic patient, and says that, people like me who are asthmatic do suffer a lot on the day of Deepavali because of the pollution, air pollution caused by the crackers, as if she never had any air pollution problems the other days. And she says that Deepavali is not a festival of crackers, but it's a festival of lights, laddus, and love. So let us celebrate Deepavali without crackers. And there comes another youth icon recently this year, Virat Kohli, saying that I'll teach you, or I'll give you tips upon how sensibly you can celebrate Deepavali with a very healthy workout and healthy food, this kind of a thing. And then there comes in Khazana, which portrays or gives ads of Deepavali on the occasion of Deepavali, with girls without bindis or tilakam on their foreheads, and handing diyas in their hands. So these kind of portrayal or kind of advertising, they have a lot of impact on our minds as general public. But the main it is the main thing about all these campaigns is that they want to disassociate these festivals, and they want to just make money out of it. The main aim would be that they want to make money out of the shopping, whatever people do on this. But at the same time, they even want to disassociate these festivals with our Sanatana Dharma. This is what I feel every time I get its time also irked about it. And even courts in India also try to say that, why this what you call practices which are leading to air pollution should be propagated. Definitely we need to think. Yes, definitely anything excessive, we have this saying called Ati Sarvatra Varjayet. Fine, we can have, we should not do anything in excessive, but still we need to know, if we know why we are bursting crackers, there should be a purpose to it. It's not just, it didn't come out of nowhere. So it should have some or the other kind of origin or significance to it. So that was the main triggering point for me. And for me, it is even easy for me to access the sources, because I fortunately have been under the training. I'm a trained person in some sort. I don't call myself a scholar in anything, but I think I'm just a Nitya Vidyarthi. I consider myself to be a student, ever student. Every time I'm a student, I'm nowhere a scholar. But yes, I after getting training and being still trained from past 13 to 15 years in the Shastras, I definitely know where I have to see and where I have to go look for references, and at least understand them and how to relate. Because now it is high time that we need to know the origin and significance of each and every practice. Because wherever in these 15 years, I just came to know one thing, that whatever we do has a logical reasoning, not a reason to itself, but a logical reasoning and a significance to it, which is multi-layered and multifaceted. And it is only it depends upon our maturity levels, that how many layers we can understand. Because there could be many layers to it, and me being ignorant, I can only know one or. So if we dig, as much as you dig, you find that many layers to each and every practice. So this is what I know. I know by after these 15 years of study. So that's in that way, I thought that I need to do some research, and I did some. And even relating it and bringing it on platforms which are contemporary is also very much needed. Me knowing them and doing it by myself doesn't suffice over there. People over there need to know that we do have something behind this, a reason behind it, and they need to know with a proud thing that they have to do all these practices and carry forward it to the next generations. So this was my main intention. On even I have written an article on it that will be getting published on the day on November 4th. It will be published on a blog. So where I have written again using a Shastrik method of writing called as Adhikarana Paddhati, that will be dealt over there. So even apart from that also, I wanted to do some discussions and knowing the contemporary problems that all face today. So that's why I thought we need to interact and bring things forward. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Srinivas Ji, for that. The reasons into why we are actually assembled here today talking about this. Now, what you have said leads me into my next question. You said we have been celebrating festivals since long time, and maybe over the period of time, because we have not really pondered upon the root knowledge which led to the festivals being celebrated in a certain manner. Maybe we are doing things by rote, not really understanding, and in the process, sometimes maybe even the context is lost. We may be doing things that are not really meant to be done, or we may be understanding things in a totally different perspective, which are not related to the festival in any way. For example, the festival is called Naraka Chaturdasi. And one of the stories that we hear is that Krishna, with the help of Satyabhama, has vanquished the Asura Narakasura on this day, and so on. And that is the context to celebrating Naraka Chaturdasi, for example. Or when you actually rightly said, we light crackers or we light up the skies and all that. So what exactly is the reason why this particular type of celebration has been associated with this festival? These are the questions which I think what you are alluding to is knowing at a deeper level the context, and as you said, the logical and scientific context to these practices. With regards to that, how can you tell us the real significance to Naraka Chaturdashi and Deepavali? The stories that we know are there. What is the truth in it, or what is the untruth in it? If you can elaborate a little bit on that, please.
Sure. And before going further, I wish even to make this point out that there was this, even one again narration as you brought in Narakasura Vadha, where all these anti-Sanatana forces, they try to depict Narakasura as an a person belonging to an, a caste which is being oppressed by the so-called Agravarnas and etc. And they even did a beef festival in Osmania University in Hyderabad back then, only to celebrate that Narakasura. They did puja to Narakasura. They had a big effigy of Narakasura and they did puja to that and etc. So there is even this kind of a diversion is also, they want to divide people again by stating that asuras are someone belonging to
The
the
lower
oppressed,
classes.
lower classes, oppressed classes, as they try to do. So this is again another deviation for the for these things.
So the divide and rule policy is much in vogue even long after the people who actually used it to rule us. And even now the colonial mindset, I think we are fraught with that divide and rule mindset through different means and media. So please carry on.
So then now I'll just go through in a very brief manner of what actually Naraka Chaturdasi is all about.
Narakasura is a king, I think. He's on Simhasana. He's not a lower caste person or anything, in my opinion.
I will even cover what actually the legend of Narakasura Vadha is all about also. Whether that has a relation to Naraka Chaturdasi or not also I'll be giving you some information even about that. So starting, what is actually Naraka Chaturdasi and what are all the things that we need to do on Naraka Chaturdasi according to a Dharma Shastra Grantha called Dharma Sindhu. So this is my prime source that I have taken about. There may be some other additional informations in other Dharma Shastra Granthas also. So whatever I am saying may have an additional information to it. I wish to give this disclaimer before I go further. This is not the only thing. There are many add-on things to this also. So I'll just put everything in a very brief thing. So there are 5 things that we have to do on Naraka Chaturdasi. Before that, what is Naraka Chaturdasi? So the Ashvayuja Krishna Chaturdashi Tithi, the 14th Tithi, not a day. Tithi and day have a different meanings. So 14th Tithi on the second half of Ashvayuja Masa is called Naraka Chaturdashi. And on this particular day, there we need to do 5 things. That is, one is Taila Bhyanga Snanam. The second one will be Kartika Snanam. Third one will be Yamatarpadam. And fourth one will be Ulka Danam and Ulka Pradarshanam. The fifth one will be Deepa Prajwalanam. So what is Taila Abhyanga Snanam? So we have Taila Abhyanga Snanam. We have 3 words. It's a compound word made out of 3 words. So Taila means here Tila Taila, the oil, sesame oil. And then Abhyanga. So Abhyanga is in a general perspective, is that applying oil all over the body and massaging it. This is what is Abhyanga all about. But there are again some more details to it. You need to first pour the oil on your forehead and your shoulders and massage them thoroughly in such a way that the oil is spreads all over the body. And a thorough massage compared to all other body parts on the forehead on the legs, a thorough massage is prescribed, and you need to even pour this some amount of oil even in your ears. So this is what is Abhyanga all over. And we have references of Abhyanga in Ayurveda. So in an ideal routine, how a daily routine should be, we have something called a Swasthavritam in each and every Ayurveda text. So in order to how to maintain good health, there is an idealistic manner to it. So after waking up in the morning, after brushing your tooth and etc., you need to do this Abhyanga and then do some exercise and then go for bath. So this is the description given there. But it is an optional thing that you can do. They say that whenever you if you find time, you do in this such a manner. But on this particular day, it becomes a naimittika karma. That means on our Naraka Chaturdasi, it's not an optional thing that you have to do, but it is a compulsory. It's a compulsory, practice that you have to follow. So in the morning, that too on the Chandrodaya Kala. So this Chandrodaya Kala is again has some relation to the Jyotisha part. The morning and the evening is divided into 6 parts. So the whole day is divided into 12 parts, and there comes this Chandrodaya Kala in the part as a part of night. So this Chandrodaya Kala normally happens somewhere around, this time of, maybe around 10 o'clock in the night or 11 o'clock. On that particular Chandrodaya Kala, you need to have this Chaturdashi Tithi, and you have to do this Abhyanga at the Purvodaya Kala. Purvodaya Kala means before the sunrise. So before the sunrise, you need to do this Abhyanga Snana. So this is the timing that was given for Abhyanga Snana. So Taila Abhyangam, and why using sesame oil? Because Tila Taila is considered to be the king of all oils according to Ayurveda, because it has all the virtues of all the other oils. So that's why it's called as a Taila Raja. And all the others are called as Taila, because the word Taila itself means sesame oil. But still we are using the word Taila to other oils also, because every oil has some or the other virtue of the Tila Taila. So this is the significance of using Tila Taila on that particular day. And then you have to do Abhyanga, and then you have to do Snanam. So even in Snanam, before you bathe, you need to take a small lump of mud by using hala or plow, right? If that is not possible in these days, recent times, we can take a small lump of mud from our tulasi, because each and every Sanatani will be having definitely tulasi in their home. You can take a small lump of mud from tulasi and a herb called apamarga or uttareni. So apamarga or uttareni, is the herb that needs to be taken. This is called as Acranthus aspera. The scientific name of that herb is called. So, and then you need to take these both things and you need to stir 3 times in the water. Okay, by chanting a shloka which goes something like Sita Loshta Samayukta Sakantaka Dalanvita Harapapam Apamarga Brahmyamanaf Punah Punaha. So here you are asking the Apamarga herb that, oh Apamarga, with a lump of mud taken by the hala, by stirring again and again in the water, may diminish my papam. So this is the whole meaning of that particular shloka. By reciting this shloka, you need to stir it thrice and then do the snanam. So this one thing is done, and after doing snanam, you need to do tilaka dharanam according to your sampradayas, whether you're Sri Vaishnava, Madhva, Smarta, whatever, whether it is bhasma or tilaka dharanam, male, female, anything, depending upon your sampradaya. And then you have to do your nitya anusthana or nitya puja. And then again, there is something called the second thing that we have to do on this day is Kartika Snanam. So there may be a question why Kartika Snanam is coming in Ashvija Masa. So here Kartika Snanam refers to Sauramana Paddhati. So we have 2 kinds of calendars in in the Sanatana. This thing, one is called as Sauramana and another is called as Chandramana. So Sauramana is a calendar depending upon the Gamana of Surya or the sun, and Chandramana is depending upon the movement of moon. So here from Ashviyuja Purnima, the Purnima which comes after Dasara is called as Ashviyuja Purnima. Starting from the day of Ashviyuja Purnima till the Purnima, Kartika Purnima, 1 month, every day Kartika Snanam is to be done according to the Dharma Shastra. If you're not able to do Kartika Snanam for 1 month, at least you need to do Kartika Snanam for 3 days in that month. Even if you're not able to do for 3 days, on this particular day, it is compulsory that you have to do Kartika Snanam. So this is what the exemptions were given by Dharma Shastra. So what is Kartika Snanam? It is very much simple. After doing your Nityanusthana, so before going to bath, there is one arghyam or libation, by water that you give to Vishnu, and then you do your snanam by chanting 2 shlokas, and then after doing the snanam, again you need to give 2 arghyams to Vishnu Murti. So this is what is the snana prakriya all about. So the shloka before the snanam, the arghyam, the prathamarghyam, we should call it as, goes something like Namah Kamalanabhaya, Namaste Jalashayine, Namaste Stu Hrishikesha, Grahanarghyam Namostute. It is only about remembering or stating Namah Kamalanabhaya. So you are just saluting Vishnu Murti and giving him one arghyam to him, and then you do your bath by chanting 2 slokas. They go like this: Kartikeham Karishyami Pratasnanam Janardana Prityartham Tavadevesha Damodara Mayasaha Dhyatvaham Tvancha Devesha Jalesmin Snatumudyataha Tava Prasadat Papam Me Damodara Vinashyatu. So you say something like this. So in this shloka, you're stating that Kartikeham Karishyami. So I am doing this Kartika Snanam in the solar month of Kartika. So solar month starts from Purnima to Purnima. So actually, according to the solar system, Kartika Masa has started from Ashvija Purnima itself. Okay. So it is there till Kartika Purnima. So this is a solar Kartika month, right? And in this solar month, I am doing this Pratasnanam, O Janardana, Hey Janardana. I am doing this the Snanam, bath on in the morning. For what? For Prityartham Tava Devesha. For your Preeti, I am doing this. Who is with Maya Saha. Maya here means Lakshmi Devi. So with Lakshmi Devi, who is with Vishnu, who is with Lakshmi Devi. I am doing this Snanam by remembering you. Dhyatva Hancha Devesha. By doing Dhyanam of yours. And Tava Prasadat Papam Me Damodara Vinashyatu. With your blessings, may Papam be diminished. So this is what is all this shloka about. And then after doing the snanam, you need to give 2 arghyams by chanting the shlokas Nitye Naimittike Krishna Kartike Papanashane Grihanarghyam Majadattam Radhaya Sahitohare Vratinah Kartike Masi Snatasya Vidhiman Mama Grahanarghyam Maya Dattam Radhaya Sahito Hare. So here all you are just remembering and you're respecting, you're giving your puja to Vishnumurti by stating these shlokas and giving him 2 arghyams. So by this Kartika Snanam is done. It's a very simple practice anyone can do. And then after this comes Yamatarpadam. So Yamatarpadam, normally we don't actually do puja for Yama, because each and every devata will give you whatever is there in their possession. So if you do Lakshmi puja, Lakshmi Devi will give whatever is in her possession. That is Lakshmi Sampat. So what is the thing that Yamaraja has in possession is Mrityu. So if you do puja to Yamadeva, he'll give you Mrityu. Even though we respect Mrityu, but we don't crave for Mrityu. So in that way, normally it doesn't happen. But on this day, you remember Lord Yama and you respect him by giving him tarpanam. So tarpanam is again another form of libation given through water. So 15 names of Yama are chanted, and for each and every name you need to do tarpanam. So the shloka goes something like this: Yamaya Dharmarajaya Mrityavecha Antakayacha Vaivasvataya Kalaya Sarvabhuta Kshayaya Audumbaraja Dharmaya Neelaya Parameshtine Mahodaraja Chitraya Chitraguptaya Te Namaha. So by stating each and every one name, that is Yamaya, then you have to give 3 libations: Tarpayami, Tarpayami, Tarpayami. Dharmarajaya, Tarpayami, Tarpayami, Tarpayami. So in this way, by towards south, you need to sit towards south and do. Normally we don't do puja or anything facing southern direction, because southern direction is of Yama. But on this day, as you are giving a tarpanam to Yama, you sit towards south and give this. And whoever is not having the adhikara to do tarpanam, that means whoever has not undergone his upanayana samskara, etc., or women, they can just do this dhyana shloka of him and facing southern direction. So this is one thing. Then Yamatarpanam is done, and there comes in the fourth one related to crackers. So we have this ulka. The word ulka is used for crackers, because ulka normally means comet also. That means the thing which emits light can be called as ulka here. So what is the significance of ulka on this particular day? So before this, in the Bhadrapada Masa, that means on the lunar month where we all celebrate Vinayaka Chaturthi, the second part of that lunar month is called as Mahalaya Paksha or Pitru Paksha. So on this 15 days, our ancestors come down to earth to bless all. So they come down. So that is why on this auspicious time, we do something called as Mahalaya Shraddham. So that is very much prevalent all over the Sanatana culture. So the ancestors who have come at that time, it is said that they will be leaving to their adobes on this day, Naraka Chaturdasi day. So in order to respect their return, we will be showing them their path way back to their adobes by lighting these ulkas, so that the sky is lit up on that day, in order to it's a kind of paying respect towards showing them the light. If maybe if we go back down when there is no electricity, if someone has to go in the night, there used to be this kagada kind of a thing, which we can call it as ulka by then, right? So in the same way, you are showing their way, so that their way is through, they go up there. So that's why you are lighting up the sky by using ulkas. And not only that, you give ulka to someone else, with the wish that our ancestors may have sadagati. At the same time, someone else, he will also give back you some crackers, stating his ancestors sadagati, wishing for his ancestors. So that is why this tradition of gifting crackers is there. Even there is one shloka that you have to chant while giving this crackers. So that goes something like this: Agni Dagdhascha ye jivaha Yep yadagdhaha kule mama ujjvala jyotisha dagdhaha te yantu paramangatim. So Agni Dagdhaha means who had this proper cremation ceremony, what we call it as Antyeshti. They will become Agni Dagdha Jivaha. And some people, at times we don't know how they died, or we may not get their bodies back. In accident, they may die in such a way, or somewhere where you were not able to do the proper rituals for them, the last rituals for them. So even they also need to go to the right place. So this is what your wish will definitely be. So you, by stating, giving this, let my ancestors have a right place where they have to be. And Yamalokam Parityajya Agata Ye Mahalaye, who came back to us in the Mahalaya Paksha, they have come back from the Yamaloka, and again they are going back on this day. So Ujjvala Jyotisha Vartama Prapashyantu Vrajantute. By lighting up the crackers, they are able to see their path, and may they again go back to place without any hindrance back to their places. So this is how you give the crackers, and then light crackers in the night. And again, there is the last thing that we need to do is Deepa Prajwalanam. So Deepa Prajwalanam has many purposes to it. One thing is that you need to do Deepa Prajwalanam. Actually, normally in the Sanatana houses, we have Deepa Radhanam, that is the Deepa, you lit the Diya in the morning and in the evening. Then what is the significance of lighting Deepam? You lit your whole house on this particular day, starting from Naraka Chaturdasi, 3 days, you lit your whole house with as many as deepams that you can. So why are you doing? Again, it is showing that let they go to the ancestors, go to the right kind of an let they know their way that while they're returning back. And at the same time, these 3 days, that is the Naraka Chaturdashi and Abhavasya and Kartika Pratipad. So starting from Naraka Chaturdashi, 3 days are called as Deepavali. It is not that only Amavasya is called as Deepavali. Even Naraka Chaturdashi is also called as Deepavali. So on these 3 days, what is the purpose is Lakshmi Prapti and Alakshmi Nirasanam. So Lakshmi Prapti, that you wish for Lakshmi Devi or Sampat to be there in your house, and whatever Alakshmi, the opposite to Lakshmi, should not be there in your house. So that is why in the northern, in Maharashtra and everywhere, on this particular day, they throw away, they clean their houses. They throw away whatever is not needed. They paint their houses. Everything is done on Diwali for the sake of this. So Alakshmi Nirasanam has to be done. So even that is a significance. There is this significance for lighting deepam, as many as deepams that you can. So these are the 5 things that you need to do on Naraka Chaturdashi. So you have why the word Naraka came here is not because of Narakasura Vadha happening on that day, but each and everything has a relation to Naraka Loka. Because if you don't do this Abhyanga Snanam, that will lead to some papam, which will lead to Narakam. And if you don't do Kartika Snanam on this day, again the phalitam for that would be papam, and which will lead to Narakam. And you are doing Yamatarpadam, who is the Lord of Naraka, and you're again doing this Ulka Pradarshanam or bursting crackers. Why? Because your ancestors are again going back to Yamaloka. So in this way, each and everything has a relation to Naraka Loka. So that is why this is called as Naraka Chaturdashi. And coming to the part of having whether Narakasura Vadha has a relation with Naraka Chaturdashi or not. So normally it is in as you said, it is very much prevalent that, and only the one only story that is very much famous all over our culture is that Narakasura Vadha has happened. And that too, again, there is a small twist in some parts that saying that Satyabhama was the one who has killed Narakasura, while Sri Krishna was unconscious due to Sammohanastra and etc. So that is why again I had to, because I without doing proper research, you should not comment on these kind of things. So I did my research. I contacted some of my known scholars and asked them where was this Narakasura Vadha thing. Some people gave me some references, some people were not able to. At the end, I found 3 sources where Narakasura Vadha has been described. So the three sources are one in Vishnu Puranam, and the other in Harivamsham, and the third one in Srimad Bhagavatam. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, 59th Adhyaya of Uttarardha of 10th Skandha has this legend. And in Harivamsham is called as Khila Mahabharatam, or the extended Mahabharatam. There you have Narakasura Vadha in the 63rd Adhyaya of second Parva, which is called as Vishnu Parva. And the third source was Vishnu Puranam, which in Vishnu Puranam in the 29th Adhyaya of the 5th Amsha. So in these three places, I found Narakasura Vadha. And the basic storyline is the same. And even I would like to even state here that there may be some other sources also, but I was able to only find these three sources given the constraint of time and energy and etc. So the base storyline is the same, that Narakasura is the king of a place called Pragjyotishapura. He was a king and he was not an oppressed person. One point that needs to be, he was a king who has a boon from Brahma. That means he was not only, by knowing that, you know that he had the ability to do tapas and even Brahma Sakshatkara, and he had this varam from that no one can he was given immense power. So he was in power, he was a Raja, so he had this Anushtana and etc. for his sons. But there is a negative thing that is there in his character, that he oppressed many others. It is rather way around, that he was the oppressor and not the oppressed. We need to know that one thing. So he was the king of Pragjyotishapura, and he stole the kundala or ear ornaments of Aditi, and he kept 16,000 kanyakas in his captive. So he kept 16,000 females belonging to devatas, various devatas and kings in his captive. So he is the oppressor. You can know that he is the oppressor over there, right? And he oppressed many devatas, not only Manushyas but devatas, all the lokas. So in this situation, devatas and all the other people went to Sri Krishna. While Sri Krishna returned after marrying Satyabhama, Sri Krishna returned to Dwarka. Then these all people go there and say that, Narakasura is oppressing many people and we are finding, we are facing a lot of troubles. So kindly help us. So then, along with Satyabhama went to the war with Sri Krishna only, and he fought. And he killed Narakasura. So that is what I can even quote one or two slokas from the Harivamsha. Nirruto Narako Nama Brahmano Varadarpitaha Aditya Kundale Moha Jahara Diti Nandanaha. So he says that he is the Varadarpitaha. He had this boon from Brahma and etc. And he has been oppressing many people. And then this one comes, that Athogra Chakras Chakrena Pradiptena Nakaro Dvidha Chakra Dvidha Kritam Tasya Sharira Matanayat Bhuvi. So in that way, it is very much stated that Sri Krishna with his Sudarshana Chakra did the Narakasura Vadha. And even I can state from the others also, I just don't want to elaborate more upon this. So the one thing that we need to know here is that Sri Krishna himself has done this Narakasura Vadha, and one version is there from Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya of Sri Madhvacharya, where Satyabhama helped him till some extent. While he accepted the Sammohanastra. So even though he is above Sammohanastra, but because Sammohanastra belonged to Brahma, so in order to respect Brahma, so he accepted, he was there for some time without doing the war. For some time, and at that point of time, Satyabhama took up the bow and fought for some time, and again after coming to conscious, again Sri Krishna himself has taken the bow and then killed with the Sudarshana Chakra, he killed Narakasura Vadha. Even there also you find the same thing. So in all these sources, if I see, there is one thing we need to know, that Narakasura was the oppressor and Sri Krishna killed him. And nowhere in this legend that we have any astrological, the tithi that it happened on Ashvija, Krishna Chaturthi, or Chaturdashi, or etc. So there is no relation based on these sources, valid sources, that Narakasura Vadha and Naraka Chaturdashi have any relation. But one thing that we need to know is that if a particular guru or a Mahatma or a Shishta Acharya, if some say that some gurus have quoted saying that Narakasura Vadha is being celebrated because of Naraka Chaturdasi is being celebrated because of Narakasura Vadha. If some Pramanika Acharyas have stated so, we can even take that also as a pramana, because Sishtachara Sampradaya is also one of the pramanas according to Dharma Shastra. So we can take that as also pramana, but not as a primary source, but as a secondary source, and we can do that. There is no harm in relating Narakasura Vadha and Naraka Chaturdashi. So there is no harm in that, but we are only here for validating things. So that was my main this thing, and only sticking to that particular concept and leaving out all the other things that we have to do on that day. That is what is happening nowadays, that we are not doing all these 5 things, right? We don't know Yamatarpadam, we don't know Tailabhyanga Snanam, we don't know Kartika Snanam. Even though we practice crackers, busting crackers, and doing doing the Deepavali thing, we don't know what is the purpose and significance of it. So now, so that after knowing this will, I suppose, will give some strength for us to do it with pride again, saying that there is some origin and significance to it. So this is for the Naraka Chaturdashi. And coming to Deepavali, Deepavali again, that is the Amavasya. I meant Deepavali means on this day we need to do again Tailabhyanga Snanam in the morning, and in the evening you need to do Lakshmi Pujanam for the sake of Lakshmi Prapti and Lakshmi Nirasanam, and again burst crackers and do light as many as Deepams that you can on this day. And one other thing that Dharma Shastra says is that on Naraka Chaturdashi, Nakta Bhojanam, Amavasya also, there is something called as Nakta Bhojanam. That means you don't eat till the evening from morning, and only break your fast in the evening. So this is something very much, maybe some people may find it, what festivals are meant for food, right? You're saying abstain from eating in the morning, so this could be something else. So you need to think it from the sadhana perspective here, because you are doing Lakshmi Puja in the evening. Till you do the puja, you should not eat. You do not eat. So that is what happens in Sankashta Chaturthi Vrata and etc. You do not eat till you perform the puja. That is done in the evening. So there is an optional thing on Naraka Chaturdashi. On Naraka Chaturdashi, you can do Nakta Bhojanam. If you do Nakta Bhojanam will have good phalam. So that is an optional thing. But on Deepavali, it is said that you should not eat. Leaving aside children and old people, all the others should not eat anything on Deepavali in the morning, and should break their fast after doing Lakshmi Pujanam in the evening. Then you can have good meal or a good dinner, whatever you want to eat, you can eat in the evening. So this is another aspect of relating it with sadhana. So it is not just a holiday where we can eat whatever we want and etc. So it is a disciplined manner that you celebrate. You have a very pavitrata to attach to all these things. So you respect your ancestors, you respect your gods, you respect everything. These are all kind of showing your respect towards your the powers that are above your ability, right? So and then this is the what in a very shorter span I just explained what we should do on Naraka Chaturdashi and Deepavali.
That was, I think I would say, eye-opening even for myself. And as I framed my question initially as well, we have been doing things by rote, not knowing why we are doing certain things, and thereby probably ending up doing things that we should not be doing.
Yes.
And so this sort of explanation, scientific, will probably be the light, like a torch, which will steer us back into the correct direction. I actually have another question with regards to this, but I will come back to you, Srinivas Ji. But I now would like to go to Mitra Ji here. So we have a young mother trying to raise children in a land other than Bharat in the Sanatana Dharma that we follow. So what are the challenges that you face in such a situation, and how knowing the relevance of or the science behind or the logic behind these festivals, how does that help you? Why is it important that you need to know this, and why is it that we have to reclaim this knowledge back and not give in to myths or propaganda, just like how Srinivas Ji has said, the media, sometimes there is an anti-Sanatana Dharma media narrative that is out there. So how does it help you, and what are your views on this one? Mitraji, I would like you to please elaborate on this one.
Sure. I was happy just listening, Radhakrishna ji. But no one told us what Srinivas ji has been telling us for all this time. So it was such fascinating information. And I think I find myself in a situation where I have experienced all of the rituals that Srinivas ji was talking about as I was growing up. My grandparents put me through the rigor, and so I know all of that. But now here in current day and age, it's kind of difficult to translate that when you're bringing up children here. If our Diwali falls during a school week, the child still has to get up, go do his thing and go off to school. And if there's homework the night before, then he's not going to wake up early in the morning for whether it's Diwali. Who's going to wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock like you and I, we would have. So I suppose those are the challenges in real life. But having said that, I also find that children are receptive when you explain it to them. For example, we recently had Halloween, where everyone knows that it has something to do with honoring the ancestors or honoring the dead from wherever they are. So if you tie that in with what Srinivas mentioned about the Mahalaya Parva, now you can see that, well, your culture has been doing that. And in fact, there was a good lengthy period of time, and there's a well-defined process which tells you how you honor them, how do you give them send-off when they're going back home, things like those. So children are receptive. I think we just have to find a way to explain it to them in a way that makes sense to them, make it more contemporary, I suppose. That's basically the challenge. And all of the things that we are talking about here right now, often in India, we learn by osmosis, because even if we're not doing it, someone else is doing it. But that is not a part of what we are doing outside of Bharat. So I think the challenge is then to deliberately incorporate these kind of things in our conversation, and more than conversation, in the acharan itself. So the little things that I've started doing is, previously I would have just gone to office like any regular day after I've done all of my Deepavali things in the morning. But now over the past few years, my husband and I, we make it a point to take time off. We've actually started, even if it's on a Thursday or a Wednesday, this time it's on a Thursday, Lakshmi Pujan. So although it's a school day, we're still taking the day off and, getting together with friends, going out and doing all of the things that you would have done there. Now, invariably, we have to modify this a little bit based on wherever we are, but it's good to know that I was always confident that there's a lot of thought that has gone into designing the rituals that we're following, but someone simply needed to, demystify that for us. So thank you for doing that, Srinivas.
I would like to add one point here, Radhakrishna Ji and Srinivas Ji, Mitra Ji. The main reason for this, it's a masking or mystifying this, is the Gregorian calendar. Gregorian calendar is unscientific, just a paper. There is no science. It's not connected to nature. I can't say on November 4th, every month, can I see Amavasya or a no moon day or new moon day or full moon day and particular date? No, it is unscientific. 1 month is 30 days, another month is 31, another month is 29 or 28. We don't know. So it's just a paper. So entire society is on that now. It is not scientific, but we are saying, quoting, it is scientific. World is scientific, and we're in the rocket age or supercomputer age. So at this instance, I'm fortunate that one of the person belonged to and supercomputer design previously. He's 70 years old person. He actually designed this calendar. This calendar, he's in Sydney, Neti Shivaramakrishna Shastri. I'm lucky that I'm fortunate. This is customized to Australian and New Zealand Southern Hemisphere related, the latitude and longitude he took, and all the Thidi, Vara, Nakshatra, which is science. All the, from no, new moon day to full moon day, one Paksha, 15 days, and second Paksha, this is entire month. Like that, they organize. It is Chaitra to Chaitra, which is spring to spring, super scientific. And so we are missing this. That's why we're forgetting our festivals. This is one reason we are following the Gregorian calendar. That's one point I would like to add. Thanks, Radhakrishna ji.
You've
Thanks.
opened a can of worms by saying we're following the Gregorian calendar and not this one.
Yep.
Yeah, but it actually highlights the fact again, the great knowledge of Jyotish Shastra that the land of Bharat has been a pioneer in. Even, if you go about looking at the Western history, at far, even if you look at the main divider, which is AD and after the Anno Domini or whatever, you're looking at 2,000 years, 3,000 years, a little bit of Hebrew history before that. But our history and time, Kalaganana, it goes back into many more thousands years, and it is still intact. And the references astronomically, astrologically, still make sense. Therefore, and the reference that Srinivas Ji made to the different types of Kalaganana Paddhati or measuring time, Chandramana as in with the lunar cycle, or Shauryamana as with the solar cycle, the solar. And we in Deepavali itself, in what Srinivas Ji just said, we can see that there is a beautiful mix of the Chandramana calendar as well as the Sauramana calendar. Where we do the Kartika Snanam, it is to the Sauramana calendar. So we see that Sankranti, the Tithi, and whatever we celebrate is again as Shauryamana.
Sauramana, yeah.
Shauramana, this thing.
So Sauramana is fixed actually, because Sauramana is based upon the the gati or the movement of sun. So that is fixed. And but coming to Chandramana, it actually it's dynamic. So it's based upon the fastest moving planet, that is Chandra, Moon.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. So it is good that you brought out that point, Umamahesh Garu. And I think the next talk that we probably might have could be on the Kala Ganana Paddhati and the many flaws that the current so-called logical, scientific Gregorian calendar seems to claim that it has, and we can probably refute and rebut that.
And I wish to even state that whoever the Telugu speaking people out there, we just had a conversation. I just had a conversation with one of my friends who is a Jyotisha, who is a Siddhanta Jyotisha himself. There we actually dealt even with the Tithi Nirnaya of Naraka Chaturdasi and Deepavali. So what are the very minute details that were given? Why? Because in India, we are having Naraka Chaturdasi and Deepavali both in one day this year in 2021. Why? Because the main thing that you have to do in Naraka Chaturdasi is the Abhyanga Snana, and the time for Abhyanga Snana which was there, that happens to be on the November 4th morning. And the Amavasya, Deepavali, has something to do with the Lakshmi Pujana in the Pradosha Kala, in the evening. So even that also falls on November 4th. So that is why now if we take days, it should be followed by 14th day followed by 15th, right?
One day before,
no,
one day
it
after.
doesn't happen in that way, because the main the minute details were also even dealt. So that was done in Telugu. So the Telugu speaking, maybe people can even access that video. I will be sharing the link down there, so even they can even go through the conversation.
Okay, I actually go back to Mitra Ji now. We've been looking at, I want to actually highlight a little bit about the media double standards, if I may say so. Whether it is talking about sanatana dharma practices with regards to festivals, Like when Srinivas Ji mentioned Holi, suddenly the so-called jnanis mushroom up just before that and start talking about, oh, this is pollution, polluting the water and so on. So just before Deepavali again, suddenly you'll see WhatsApp universities mushrooming up with saying, pollution with crackers and all this thing. Even in COVID, it was so very evident that despite Bharat being one of the countries that tackled the pandemic in the most beautiful manner, while there were bodies being piled up in cold storage morgues in the US, the media wouldn't highlight that. All they had to highlight was how the funeral pyres were burning in Bharat. With regards to that, this particular hypocrisy, the same thing that is being talked about in bursting crackers or anything that we do, I would like you to highlight a little bit, Mitraji, on this hypocrisy and share some of your views.
Do you know there's that African proverb which says, until the lion learns to speak, the hunters will tell the story. I think with us, I find it's a bit like that, where, I've been observing this for a while, and one of the reasons why someone who doesn't usually speak up, I've chosen to speak today, is because I'm constantly seeing this same narrative play out everywhere. And suddenly when it comes to Diwali, so I agree with what Srinivas Ji said in his introduction or what you're saying now, is suddenly when it comes to any Bharati or Hindu festivals, everyone has a problem with it. I mentioned Halloween only just now. I'll just refer to some information. This is an article from 2018, and it says an estimated 2,000 tons of plastic waste, which is equivalent to 83 million bottles, will be generated from the throwaway Halloween clothes sold by leading retailers. That's
but nobody has a problem with it.
Sorry?
Yeah, but nobody has a problem with it. The media
Nobody
doesn't
has a
have
problem with that.
it.
Nobody has a problem with that. But anything you will do, you will have, anything Hindus do, there will be a problem. Or for that matter, across the world, we have the 4th of July celebrations in US, or 31st of December, we have the beautiful Sydney fireworks. Do you want to take a guess how much we spend at the Sydney fireworks? Hazard a guess?
I would hazard a guess, but I guess it would go into the millions of dollars.
So we, back in 2018, we spent, actually we expended 8.5 tons of fireworks, and that is just Sydney alone. This does not account for the pollution that is happening across the world. There's another report that I'm looking at, which was the American firework consumption. And in 2020, the consumer fireworks in America are 385.8 million pounds. And another 18.7 million pounds for display fireworks. So a total of 404 million pounds. So that's the kind of stuff that is happening outside of Bharat. Whatever Bharat's doing in those 5 days is insignificant compared to the numbers that you've seen or you've heard. And these are reports that they have put out. Yes, Srinivas, sorry.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing in this. Definitely, yes, this is a comparative study which we have to, and even we have to bring in this thing that Ati Sarvatra Varjaye. This is what the Shastra says. Do not overdo anything. Okay, we shall not overdo by stating that we are doing a wrong practice, others are doing a wrong practice, so that becomes right. No, but yes, we do accept that there is some air pollution thing out there, but only stating that or relating that with only a sanatana practice and banning them. This
That
year,
is the issue
previous year, here in India, it is banned. See the kind of trauma that people go through. A practice which is being practiced from time immemorial is being banned by the authorities, stating that it has something to do with air pollution only. We say that yes, that air pollution is a byproduct of bursting crackers, and we need to restrict ourselves, because even the Shastra itself says that Ati Sarvatra Varjayet. But that should not lead to diminishing the practice altogether. If for 2 to 3 generations happens this, the 5th generation will not know that there is something called as bursting crackers on this particular day with this particular purpose. So that I think
and the thing I suppose is Sanatan Dharma is inherently capable of looking at something and then responding to that need with a change. But right now, we do not have the autonomy or the agency to make that choice. We are being painted in a corner. The courts will tell us what to do, the police will tell us what to do, what not to do. And so we don't have that agency to be able to make that choice and say, all right, I think there's sufficient air pollution, we need to amend the way we are doing this. There has to be a choice that comes from us. And that is, I suppose, it is this duplicity or this hypocrisy that is constantly everywhere for anything related to Hindu festivals, which is why I think we need to start telling a story, reclaim what is ours, and then we can decide how we want to pursue that. But at this stage, I suppose we are at that point of first needing to reclaim it, and then we can decide how we amend that.
And I wish to even put one thing forward in this, that there needs to be done a thorough research upon how our firecrackers were there previously, because this is a very old practice of fire bursting crackers. This didn't emerge, right away from now. So we need to maybe do some research about how crackers were made in the older times. So maybe from there, maybe if we can find out what were the ingredients of those crackers, and what kind of air that they the kind of smoke that they emit, does it really harm or not? Because even in the yajnas or in the homas, not each and every piece of wood can be used. There is a very particular type of woods that you have to use. You can use uttareni, so there are very less amount of kinds of plants that you can use in a homa. Not each and every wood piece can be used in a homa. So that again, after research, they find out that the smoke that is emerging from it is actually helping in timely rain, so and etc. So in that way, I think research should be done in about what were the fireworks, how were the fireworks made in the older times, and what is the impact of the smoke that emits out of that fire, using those fireworks.
Especially in that particular period, the season period,
Yes,
in that
yes,
area.
yes,
Considering
yes.
all of that, there would be a significance. And just to highlight the point that Mitraji was also just saying, this hypocrisy that we talk about is, I don't think anybody needs to teach Sanatana Dharma how to look after nature. If there was any culture or civilization that talked about nature in its completeness and preserving it, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is something that Sanatana Dharma is teach the world. But now they are talking about environmentalism and all. They take our values or our teachings, our knowledge, and then they misappropriate it. For example, they have stripped the Sanatana Dharma connotation to yoga. Now suddenly it has become mindfulness.
Yes.
And now it is a Western product.
Yeah. And it
Or
has
do
nothing to
you
do
know
with
that by
Sanatana.
2027, it is slated to be a billion, it's some ridiculous amount of $1 billion industry, and the traditional or the indigenous practitioners will not see a single commercial gain. And I think that's the whole plan, because we are not looking at or mining our own information or doing the research. They are diligently doing that, which is why when you talked about the research, Srinivas, it will be important for us to do the research, as Sanat needs to do the research, not a third party with a vested commercial interest to do the research, which is exactly what we're seeing in Ayurveda. Everything that we know is being patented or used as active ingredients, and we are constantly having to react to something by stopping a patent or putting in applications to curtail the inappropriate use of that.
Yes.
Great. Now that leads me to the next question, which is a very interesting perspective and angle to this whole discussion that we are having. Deepavali, is it a celebration of a certain people in Bharat, or how do we look at the applicability of Deepavali festival in the land of this question I want to ask Umamaheshwar Garu, in the sense that you did mention when we talked last time that Bharat being a very agrarian economy, what is the significance of the Deepavali festival and its connection to the economy and the agrarianness of this festival? Could you throw some light on that, please?
Yeah, sure, Radhakrishna ji. See, Deepavali is Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrichorma Amrutangamaya, as Srinivas Ji and Mitra Ji and all you are we discussing about the remembering the Pitru Devatas and all. And also very important thing, India's, our Bharat's actually is, Atma is forming. So this Deepavali is next. Deepavali's and Deepavali Amavasya's next day is Lakuda Padyami, or we also say as Bali Padyami or Bali Pratipada. That's very, very important day to farmers. We're actually missing that part, and farmers and all the communities, how they are connected to Deepavali. I will quote one verse, shlokam from Krishi Parasaram. Is a very ancient book on how to farm and all. That Krishi Parasaram also mentioned this. They say the 18th chapter, Goparva Kathanam. Gopujam Kartike Kuryal Laguda Pratipati Tidau. And also they said on the Gopuja, we had to do Gopuja on Kartikas, that the first day, the Pratipada. And also Gavamange Tato Dadyat Kartika Prathame Dine Tailam Haridra Yuktam, as Srinivas Ji mentioned, Taila and also Haridra. Haridra is Haldi, the turmeric. Both things you need to decorate. So that is good for their health. That's what they mentioned. Militva Krushike Saha. And also there is a Govardhana festival also on that day. And also Annakuta Mahotsava is very famous. All this related to cultivation and generating more Annam Bahukurvita. That's what our concept. The Upanishads, all they say, create more Annam, food, and generously distribute. Farmer is very important. That's what they said. That is the main intention on that day. That is Lakuda Pratipada, or you can say Bali Pratipada after Deepavali, is like next day to Deepavali. That's what. So Deepavali is very, very important. Mainly, it connects every sect of Bharatiya's life. It is a universal festival, I can say. That's what one point I would like to
So
mention.
basically, it is a festival of the masses. It is a
Yes.
festival of the agrarian economy, agrarian
Yes,
people.
yes.
We are people of the land.
And also one thing, the Gujarati community, Maharashtrian, all the like Rajasthan, they start Vikrama Shaka also will be started on the day. And also in some places they do Kaumudi Mahotsava. They do like a lot of competitions and all. I mean to say the physical activities happens. And also the Vishwakarma related also some puja they do. Vishwakarma is related to technology. All these things are connected. This Deepavali is a spindle, and all these things are connected. So we should understand every aspect of that, not entertainment or eating. It is related Indriya Nigraha,
That
tapas,
brings
and
me to the next question, which I would like to, and it is also a closing of this little charcha, vichar manthan that we are having. And that is, I would like, as closing remarks, to ask what is the, now you just said, we talked about so many things, the significance, the real meaning behind some of the rituals and the actions that are performed. What is the significance of claiming this back, knowing exactly for what it was, and real knowledge? Why do we need to do it? Why do we need to reclaim it? So, as a closing statement, I would like to go back with Mitraji. If you have any closing statements on this one, and then I will go to Srinivas Ji.
Once again, listening to what Umamahesh Ji as well as Srinivas Ji has mentioned, I'm reminded that we are a people of a beautiful library, an enormous library which is full of incredible knowledge. And all that is required is for us to look at it curiously, read and go through the wisdom that our ancestors have left for us and find a way to bring that into our day-to-day lives. That really is the way forward to basically all of the separate concepts that we are seeing being applied externally. We have that knowledge and we just have to now start taking it out to the world. So thank you for this beautiful conversation. I learned a great deal. Thank you, Srinivas Ji and Umamaheshwar Ji, as well as you, Radhakrishna Ji. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to participate and listen and be a student.
We are all students, as Srinivas Ji rightly said, Sarvakala. Vidyarthi. And before I go back to Srinivas Ji for closing this thing, I would like to ask Umamaheshwar Garu, do you have any closing statement as to why is it important that we reclaim our practices, our knowledge? What is it? What is in it for us?
See, we have
Or
to reclaim.
what are the dangers of not doing so?
See, the world peace depends on these practices, Radhakrishna. That's it. Full stop. Entire world peace, ahimsa paramo dharma. Everything depends
Shanti.
on these practices. Yeah, we are connected not just as humans. The Pitru Devatas, we know this technology of connecting entire universe, not the visible things. Everything we can connect with these panchendriyas. So these practices needs to be preserved as it is in a pious way with the tapas and also righteous conduct, the satya, all these things are the shields. If you remove that and it's naked, it's not the true thing. So true things needs to be protected and preserved and also propagated, as Srinivas Ji mentioned. They're doing great job, Srinivas Ji, and also Mitra Ji and you. Thank you very much. That's it.
Your statement just reminded me of a very beautiful line from the prarthana that we daily do in Shakha. So as you rightly said, Sanatana Dharma, and how it is friendly to Vishwa Dharma.
Sure.
And how that can only be the only solution to Vishwa Shanti. So the line in the Prarthana goes, Vishwa Dharma Prakashena, Vishwa Shanti Pravartake, Hindu Sanghatana Karye, Dhyanishta Sthirastunaha is one of the lines in the Prarthana. So what you just said reminded me. So this is the reason why we have to reclaim all our knowledge in this contemporary thing. Thank you for providing that angle. And now, lastly, again, back to Srinivas Ji, your closing words before we wrap this chat session.
Yeah. So I just wanted to wrap this up with the paramarthika of rituals, in general, normally. Why are we doing this? Are we doing this for only ritual sake or not? So we have this Purushartha system. So whatever we do, we need to relate it to the four Purusharthas: Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So how these rituals will lead to attaining these four Purusharthas? See, Artha and Kama are natural to the society. It is natural. So there is no need to give what is Artha and what is Kama. Artha is Prayojanam or Sampat, and Kama is desire, right? So we don't do each and everything in order to achieve Artha and Kama only, right? So this Artha and Kama are bound by Dharma. So that is why Dharma and Moksha are there in between, sandwiched are the Artha and Kamas, because this Dharma Baddha Kama, which we call it as Dharmika Kama and Dharmika Artha, should eventually lead to the Moksha, which is called as Paramapurushartha. So the main thing that is attainable or achievable according to Sanatana Dharma is Moksha. So in order to achieve Moksha, you need to have Dharmika Artha and Dharmika Kama. So here, if you see Lakshmi Prapti, Alakshmi Nirasanam, so this is something Dharmika Artha. You want Lakshmi, but that should be Dharmika. Okay. And you want to, have Artha, Artha. So that is Dharmika Artha. And Kama, Dharmika Kama. Again, Lakshmi Prapti should be Dharmika Kama and not an Adharmika Kama. Sampat in not a way which any way, but it should be Dharmik. So, and at the same time, this should again lead to moksha, and there is a very inner layer of rituals leading to moksha, because what all these rituals give us is something called as chitta shuddhi. So that is what even Sri Krishna says: yajnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangas samachara. So that is why, by unknowingly or knowingly, our sankalpas were designed in such a way that we every time say Shri Parameshwara Muddishya, Shri Parameshwara Prityartham in the beginning, and we say that Tatsat Brahmarpadapastu in the ending. So we want to give all the phala or reward, not our intention is not confined or focused on the reward. Rather, we want to relate ourselves with the ritual itself, which will definitely lead to chitta shuddhi, which chitta shuddhi is very much needed for moksha. So let this practice prevail and lead us to Chitta Shuddhi, which will definitely at the end lead to moksha. So that is the main essence of not only Deepavali or Naraka Chaturdasi, but each and every daily ritual or each and every festival. So each and every festival has a very multi-layered significance and origin to it, and we need to know that. And the higher thing that is achievable through all this is moksha, with dharmika artha and dharmika kama. So this would be my thank you very much for again coming together and discussing about our practices. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we leave, all I would like to say is thank you very much, Srinivas Ji. Thank you very much, Mitra Ji, and thank you very much, Umamaheshwar Ji, for spending the time and unraveling, if not all the layers, at least a couple of layers of the varied and beautiful knowledge that is there in each and every practice of Sanatana Dharma, and making it more relevant by knowing about it. If we know it, we will love it. If we love it, we will definitely preserve it. So that way, and we will practice it. So this talk of ours, I think, is one small step towards that goal, and it will help parents like myself, Umamaheshwar Ji and Mitra Ji, whether we are in Bharat or outside. Bharat is definitely in our hearts, and Sanatana Dharma followers, as that we will definitely go towards Vishwadharma, Vishwashanti, Sanatana Dharma. So thank you very much for this great opportunity. And
I wish to conclude this session by Shanti Patha. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much.
Dhanyavadaha.
Dhanyavad.